Today I am going to continue teaching on the book, The Life of Happiness by Trangu Rinpoche, and it is about being an older practitioner and how to relate to practice. And I'm starting in the middle of the second chapter where he talks about medicine Buddha, what to do in times of sickness. He starts out with an aspiration. May everyone in the world be free from sickness. May no new diseases appear in this world. May the sick be cured of their illnesses. May the healthy never become sick. To continue from there, this aspiration, there are two series of texts that refer to the medicine Buddha in the Kangyur, which are the actual teachings of the Buddha. And this is the Tibetan canon of the teachings of the Buddha. And one of them is about the medicine Buddha. The other mentions 8 medicine Buddhas. And the medicine Buddha practice that we do includes all of these medicine Buddhas, the medicine Buddha and the 8 brothers of the medicine Buddha. The medicine Buddha made 12 great aspirations to free sentient beings from various illnesses, to free them from suffering, and as a result that they may obtain happiness and a long life. The Medicine Buddha Sutra has these 12 great aspirations, and they're included in the Karmapa's ebook titled Aspirations to End Adversity. I will put up in the chat box the link to this. So if you want to refer to this book, it's readily available. Also, in the book Medicine Buddha Teachings by Trangu Rinpoche, this is discussed as well. If you are going to be doing medicine Buddha, to refer to either of these books from time to time, because they will help explain the practice. Now, what you can do, even if you aren't a medicine Buddha practitioner, is that you can sponsor medicine Buddha statues. This can improve one's health and the health of others. Trangu Rinpoche talks about how he was at a point in his life where he did not have a lot of money to sponsor the making and filling of medicine Buddha statues. And he just had photocopies made of the medicine Buddha and used these to fill medicine Buddha statues. Quote, therefore, if we often pray to the medicine Buddha from the depths of our hearts, it will definitely bring forth immense benefit and merit. And it's important to remember here that when he talks about benefit and merit, or any of the teachers talk about benefit and merit, a lot of it is going to follow us through the bardo and into our next life. So it may not be obvious to us that we are receiving tremendous benefit and merit, but in actuality we are, and we will benefit from it. So now the goal of the practice of medicine Buddha is to benefit all sentient beings. And of course, we are sentient beings, and it's fine to include us when we are sick, when we need help in these prayers. There are 3 versions of the medicine Buddha practice, and this is very common in Vajrayana Buddhism. There is a short version. There is an extensive, very long, elaborate version, and then there is a middling version. The one that is usually done is titled A Deep Blue Stream Sadhana of Medicine Buddha. It is shorter and it's more convenient than the others. It's the one that we do. So now he is going to describe how to do this practice briefly. First, we take refuge in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the medicine Buddha. or the Sangha rather, then we arouse the mind of bodhicitta. So we go for refuge in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha, and then we go to arouse bodhicitta, this aspiration to lead all beings to Buddhahood and to practice so that we will gain the ability to lead all beings to Buddhahood. The aspiration is wanting to do this, and the engagement bodhicitta is actually doing something to be able to gain the power to accomplish this. So we need, when we practice, to have a vast motivation, one that seeks to benefit ourselves, but also all sentient beings. The vaster our motivation is, actually, the more benefit there is to others and to ourselves. And it's important to remember the equality of self and other, that others, they don't want to get sick any more than we want to get sick. They want to be happy. Others want to be free from suffering. And we have this in common. And if we can keep this in mind when we are preparing for practice, and from time to time while we are practicing, this will make it much easier for us to maintain this bodhisattva motivation. Now, we begin the practice by visualizing Medicine Buddha in front of us with the other Medicine Buddha brothers in a mandala. We visualize in front of us the palace, the celestial palace, with Medicine Buddha within it, the principal Medicine Buddha being in the center, and they're sitting on an 8-petaled lotus flower. And on these 8 petals, the one directly in front, facing you, has a volume of the Medicine Buddha Sutra. The other 7 have the Medicine Buddha brothers sitting on them. Beyond that, we have the 6 great bodhisattvas surrounded by the protectors of the 10 directions. But the main focus is to visualize the 8 great bodhisattvas. There are 16, but these 8 great ones are the main ones to include in your visualization. And again, with all visualizations, if you do not have a clear visualization, which is very difficult, at least have the sense that these 8 great bodhisattvas are present, the 7 Medicine Buddhas are present, and Medicine Buddha is present in front of you. Medicine Buddha, by the way, is blue in color. He has a begging bowl, and in his right hand is a arura, which is a medicinal plant. And his right hand is in the gesture of generosity, where it is facing forward. So these 8 great bodhisattvas, some of them you will be familiar with, some of them not so familiar. First one is Manjushri, then there is Avalokiteshvara, then we have Mahashanmanpatra, who represents the power of wisdom. Then there is Ratna Chandran. I'm not sure exactly what he represents, but Ratna means jewel. So I would say that he represents enriching. Then is Aksamai who sees cause and effect. Then there is Vaishaja Raja, the medicine king. And then there is Vaishaja Samudgate. His name means one who has come forth from medicine. And then finally, Maitreya, the Bodhisattva Maitreya. So these are the 8 great bodhisattvas in the mandala. And then from that, we invite the medicine Buddhas, the wisdom deities that represent these deities that we have visualized. And we're visualizing ourselves as Medicine Buddha at this point as well. So we have what are called the Samaya Sattvas and the Jhana Sattvas. The Samaya Sattvas are our visualization of these mandalas and ourself as Medicine Buddha. And they invite the Jhana Sattvas, which are the wisdom deities, the actual deities that the Samaya Sattvas represent. So light radiates out from the hung in all of the deities' heart center, and it goes to the pure land where these deities reside, makes offerings, and invites them to come. And they come, and they are, of course, made out of light, just like our visualizations of self and the front mandala are made out of light. And they dissolve into us. They melt into us like pouring water into water. And at this point, then the Samaya Sattvas and the Jhana Sattvas become inseparable. After that, then from our heart centers, from this hung, emanate offering goddesses. And they make offerings then to the front visualization and to ourselves. They make the usual 7 offerings of water, flowers, incense, light, perfume, food, and music. And then they offer 8 auspicious symbols: the Dharma wheel, the conch, the victory banner, the treasure vase, a lotus, 2 golden carp, the endless knot, and a parasol. It just happens that I have a door curtain here, if you can see that, that has these 8 offerings on it in a more elaborate set of offerings. It's standard to have these 8 offerings. Then, after that, are the 8 auspicious substances. And they are a treasure mirror, a medicinal plant, yogurt, a durva, the treasures of a Chakravartin, a universal monarch. We talked about this last week. A Chakravartin is a worldly monarch, but one that controls a vast amount of territory. The greatest or the highest Chakravartin controls all 4 continents, and Chakravartin has possessions, a wheel that takes him wherever he needs to go quickly, an elephant that also can travel quickly wherever this universal monarch needs to go, a horse that is excellent in battle, the precious general, the precious minister, the precious wish-fulfilling jewel, and the precious queen. And then on top of that, we have the mandala with Mount Meru in the center, Jambudvipa in the south, Uttara Karuna in the north, and Puriya Videha the east, and Aparagodaniya in the west. So these are the 4 main continents with Mount Meru in the center, which is common in mandala offerings. So the offering goddesses make all these different sets of offerings. And when they're done, then they sing praises to the Medicine Buddha and his retinue with their melodic voices. When they finish singing the praises, the goddesses melt into light and dissolve into the heart center of the front-generated Medicine Buddha. The Medicine Buddha is pleased by all of this. These are offered to the Medicine Buddha not because he needs them, but so that we can accumulate merit. This is an important point to keep in mind. So now comes the recitation of the Medicine Buddha mantra, and it is Teyata Om Beganse Beganse Maha Beganse Beganse Ratsa Samudgate Soha. That's the Tibetan pronunciation, by the way. So we visualize a blue syllable in the heart center, the front and the self-visualization. And then around it are the syllables of the mantra, and light radiates from the seed syllable and the mantra syllables, and they go into the heart center of the front-generated Medicine Buddha. He feels extremely pleased, and his loving kindness and compassion increases. And then from his heart center and mantra garland, self-generated Medicine Buddhas radiate to yourself as a Medicine Buddha and all sentient beings. They dissolve into us. Again, they're in the form of light, purifying all of our non-virtuous deeds, afflictions, downfalls, and removing these from all sentient beings. And we continue reciting the mantra and doing the visualization until we have completed as many as we have intended at that session, or until the person leading the session ends. So after the mantra repetition ends, then the wisdom deities melt into light and dissolve into ourselves, and we receive immense blessings. Some of the other deities, the protectors, go to their own places and do not melt into light and are not absorbed by us, the practitioner. So this is a very brief summation of the practice. And I want to add that at least at KTD, they do not want you doing this by yourself unless you receive the empowerment for Medicine Buddha. That this is not something that you would do by yourself without the empowerment. The last time Khenpo Ujin was at Hay River, he did give a Medicine Buddha empowerment, and many of you took it, which was excellent. Turns out it was more than excellent, because after that we had COVID. So then we have the dedication of merit to all sentient beings so that they are free from suffering and that they are happy. During the Medicine Buddha practice, we have the generation stage and the completion stage. And the way to practice the generation stage is to visualize the front and the self generations. The completion stage is when we end and the visualization dissolves into ourselves and we become inseparable from Medicine Buddha. At that point, it's good to think that we have realized the wisdom mind of Medicine Buddha. And then, if possible, to look at the nature of your mind and abide in that moment. This is Mahamudra practice, but dissolve the visualization and then look at the nature of your mind and abide in that. This also prepares you for the moment of death. The way that works is this way we are training and recognizing the child luminosity. And at the moment, the mother luminosity, which is much greater and stronger, appears. And if you've recognized fully the child luminosity, you will recognize the mother luminosity. Otherwise, it will be too powerful and you will not be able to handle it. You will not recognize it. And instead, you'll pass out and miss the opportunity of liberation through recognition. So he describes this as a brief and convenient method of doing Medicine Buddha practice. So now we have to make dedications. And so we need to think of all sentient beings, and especially others that we are aware of that are suffering from illness, and dedicate merit to them to free them from suffering. The dedication reads, quote, "May the many sentient beings who are sick quickly be freed from illnesses, and may all the sicknesses of beings never arise again. So if we can make an aspiration like that after practicing, that is excellent. Then finally, he talks about his own daily practice. At least some of us that have done Yungne are going to be familiar with part of these prayers. So first of all, if the above visualization is too complicated for you, there is another even shorter practice which Karma Chagme mentions, which is you just recite the praises to Medicine Buddha, recite his mantra. Then if you want, visualize the Medicine Buddha over person or the part of your body that is ill, and have nectar dripping from that Medicine Buddha and onto the place on the person that is ill, and continue saying the mantra. So that is a short version. Now, his daily practice is this. When he gets up in the morning, he does aspiration prayers. He includes the aspiration for the well-being of Tibet. It's in the Monlam book, which again is online. For those of you that have done Yungne and have a text, the next prayer is in there. It's the aspiration for the Mahamudra of definitive meaning, or for short, the Mahamudra aspiration prayer. Then there is the aspiration for birth in the pure realm of Sakavati. And that is the Dewa Chen prayer, which is found right after re-arising from the mantra visualization in the short Amitabha prayer that we do after Chen Rezi. Begins, Emaho nosar sanjay nangwataye dan, and continues till Teata Pensadriya Awabodhanaye Soham. So he does that prayer. And there's a long version of it in the Amitabha practice, because after you say that, then there are more aspirations that are included in the long one. Basically, if you do the long version, just go to Amitabha and chant everything beginning with Emma Ho after the mantra repetition till the end. Then he talks about practicing the Lama, the Yidam, and the Dharma protector. And he does this by the 4-session Guru Yoga of Mikyo Dorje. Khenpo Karta Rinpoche has an excellent commentary about this. It would be good to have a reading transmission. You do not need an empowerment to do this prayer, and you do not need a reading transmission, but I can give the reading transmission. And if you are going to be doing this prayer, then Khenpo Rinpoche's book on the 4-session Guru Yoga would be excellent to read. Then he also, to purify non-virtuous actions of body, speech, and mind, he'll do the 3 Skanda Sutra, or the sutra in the 3 sections, sometimes called the 35 Buddha prayer. And again, we do this in Yungne. Then he does a Yidam practice, which in his case is White Tara. And this is what Khenpo Karta Rinpoche did too, as his main Yidam practice. After that, he says, I have breakfast. So he does all of these before eating breakfast. Then he has duties to take care of. So he says, meeting with people who have requested an audience, people that want blessings, some want refuge vows, and so forth. And then after the audiences are over with, he says, sometimes I teach, I'll give empowerments, work on my writings, and it just all depends. It's a day-to-day sort of thing. Then he says, I take a nap in the afternoon if it's possible. In the evening, he says he does Dharma protector practices, which would be Mahakala usually. At KTD, they start these at 4:30 to give you an idea of what evening is. It is not like after sundown. It's actually before supper. Then he does more aspirations. including the aspiration for the well-being of Tibet, the aspiration of Mahamudra of definitive meaning, again, the Dewa Chen prayer. He says sometimes he goes over prayers for specific purposes. For instance, if someone has died, or if someone has come to him saying, please pray for so-and-so, she's gravely ill. And then finally, he talks about himself having knee surgery in Canada. He says the doctor told him it's your responsibility to do physical therapy after surgery, or otherwise it won't be successful. So it was on his shoulders to, first of all, go to a physical therapist and learn what he needed to do for physical therapy, and then do them on his own regularly. I think many of us have had physical therapy, and you have to do it regularly if it really is going to work. Then he says, this sounds fairly pleasant, that he likes taking strolls. It's good for exercise, massages, acupuncture treatments daily, and he likes to read books, which is not surprising at all because he is a scholar. I have not been to his room, but I visualize it as being stacked with books in every nook and cranny. He says, I bury my nose inside of books all day long. And then he reminisces a little bit about how tough things were when he fled Tibet and was in this refugee camp in India. And he really appreciates how accessible printed books are and electronic books, and how fortunate we are to have that.